They traveled to Kabul and they wanted to find a deal with those that Pakistan trusts.
Karzai has been pushing for a wide-ranging peace process. With the Americans now talking about a withdrawal timetable, Karzai could be looking for another partner, a country that in the past he has consistently accused of supporting the Taliban, Pakistan.
President Karzai is a pragmatic leader. He understands the realities of Afghanistan, he understands the realities of this region. And I think he also understands that the fact that the regional players have been involved in this process for a while, and he needs the support of these regional players, and in particularly Pakistan. We're clear on what has transpired so far. So we have to wait at least to see what really comes out of this broad deal, if there is any.
Some believe steps in that direction have already been taken by the Afghan leader. They point to what appeared to be forced resignations of Amrullah Saleh, the head of the Afghan intelligence, and the interior minister. The official explanation was their failure to adequately protect the Kabul Peace Jirga meeting from attack from Haqqani Network fighters. But many say it was the former minister's opposition to cutting a deal involving either the Taliban or Pakistan that cost them their jobs.
Without a doubt, Amrullah Saleh knew a lot about Pakistan's political movements, and Atmar, who is left-wing, disagreed with Pakistani politics. Pakistan considered them obstacles in the way of them gaining a foothold in Afghanistan, and they took away this obstacle, preventing them from entering Afghanistan.
Doubts about Pakistan's intentions dominated Afghan politics for almost a decade now, leading some to fear it may not be a just negotiator. Any deal with any armed group could well bring security to the country, but Karzai might struggle to convince a suspicious Afghan public that Pakistan's intentions are good. Zana Khudr, Al Jazeera, Kabul.
Well, joining us now with more on the implications of Karzai's meeting with the Haqqani Network is Murad, a former spokesperson for the Pakistani army. What should we make of the fact that the army chief and the head of intelligence for Pakistan accompanied Haqqani to this meeting, this face-to-face meeting with Karzai?
Well, if it is true that the Pakistani outfit, like the chief of the army staff and intelligence, have facilitated the meeting between Karzai and the Haqqani group, I think it is one of the smartest moves on behalf of the Pakistan government and the security agencies, because Haqqani, unlike Pakistani organization, the Haqqani group is very well organized and well trained group, and they have their say and following in Paktia, Khost, Paktika province, and they have a lot of followers in Pakistani side of the border in North Waziristan agencies. Any deal or reconciliation with Taliban or militant organization without Haqqani group would not be successful. I think it is one of the smartest move on part of the Pakistan and the Afghanistan government.
Smart, but how successful is it likely to be? There seems to be some skepticism that this is an effective approach from the White House.
Well, I agree with you. There are certain, skepticism regarding the deal, but Haqqani has his role to play. There are so many stakeholders in Afghanistan, like the Northern Alliance has to play their own role, Taliban have to play their own role, Hizb Islami commanded by Gulbuddin Hekmatyar has to play his own role. The importance of Haqqani group cannot be ruled out. You have to take a start from somewhere, like people say that he was involved in so many incidents. Plane suicide assassination attack on the president of Afghanistan, but you have to bury a lot of stuff to take a new start toward the stability of Afghanistan in the region.
If this is, though, to be the political solution to any sort of long-lasting peace, which is obviously what everyone's working towards, what incentive is there for the Haqqani group? I mean, what kind of offers might be put on the table that would really give them the incentive to come into the fold?
As I mentioned earlier, that everybody has to play its own role. Haqqani group, which has a lot of following, ideological following and militant following, and they are very strong organization. They have their links with
so they may be making the demands, not waiting for some sort of offer.
Because in Afghanistan, any government, if you don't give representation to ethnicity, these organizations, if you talk of Taliban, they are mostly Pashtun. If you talk of Haqqani group, they are mostly Pashtun. But you cannot rule out the importance of Northern Alliance. You have to come up with some solution where every group has its own representation. And Pakistan is a country which has a lot of interest, strategic interest in Afghanistan. They would always try that Afghanistan should reach at a settlement with these militant organizations to ensure stable Afghanistan and it shouldn't be anti-Pakistan. They are putting all their concerted efforts to safeguard their national interest of a stable Afghanistan, which is friendly towards Pakistan.
What do you make of the fact, though, that the U.S. is not a part of these discussions?
I think the President Karzai has felt that the United States might be in a process of leaving Afghanistan next year, and the situation which is unfolding, like General McChrystal was fired because of certain statement, he came up with a lot of information regarding the political administration of the USA. And Karzai have finally, President Karzai have realized the importance of Pakistan. Pakistan share almost more than 2,000-mile border with Afghanistan. And any issue, reconciliation with Taliban or any government without taking Pakistan on board would not be fruitful and successful in the future.
All right, Murad Khan, we appreciate you joining us and speaking to us as always. Thank you. Well, Syria's president has said his country wants peace in the Middle East, but not, quote, submission on Israel's term. Bashar al-Assad was speaking to Al Jazeera on Sunday in Venezuela where he's meeting with President Hugo Chavez. Assad also called last month's raid on a flotilla of aid ships bound from Turkey to Gaza, in which 9 people died, some of them Turkish, a criminal act. He said the attack crippled Turkey's mediation efforts.
كيف يمكن لتركيا أن تلعب دور وسيط؟
How can Turkey play the role of mediator when it has bad relations in Israel or Syria? So I don't think there is a chance of resuming peace negotiations because Israel does not want peace, and Turkey is not in a position to be a true mediator with a country that has shown aggression towards its citizens. So in the near future, we don't see any real peace anytime soon.
Floodwaters, which have caused weeks of havoc in southern China, finally starting to recede. More than 3 million people were forced to leave their homes. At least 235 people died. This year's flooding along the Yangtze River has been especially devastating, causing nearly $8 billion in direct economic losses. Well, they've suffered decades of military rule, coups, and bloodshed, but now Guinea's first ever democratic election has been hailed a success by international observers. Results are not expected before Wednesday. The army has pledged to back whoever wins. And as Andrew Simmons reports, there's a growing sense of hope across the capital.
What's happening in Guinea would have been unthinkable less than a year ago. A country that until now has only known military rule and one-party politics. People here voting freely for the first time.